All right, cousin Tony. It's crunch time, baby. It's Friday night. The Phillies have lost 2 straight games after leading the World Series 2-1 over the Houston Astros, man. So here we are. It's do or die. Can the Phillies shock the world and win it all, or will they go down to the mighty Houston Astros? Either way, man, Philadelphia is going to be proud of our boys and the improbable run that they've gone on. And it's a great time to be a Philadelphia fan. I'm talking about the Phils, obviously, in the World Series. We got the Union in the MLS Cup final against the LA Galaxy tomorrow. And the team seeking perfection, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 8-0 after beating the Texans on Thursday night. So, Tony, let's talk this and other hobby talk with our sexy Irish Flyers collector, the commish, Mr. Neil Devlin. How you guys doing today, man? Come on, give it to me.
Let's go. Hey, listen, first off, I was super down. Like I said, we're recording Friday night, so Phillies played yesterday, and actually watched the game with the commish, so that was cool.
Yeah.
We were out here, out watching the game together.
Nice. I wasn't invited to that, but
no, because
maybe that's why you guys lost.
Well, that and you're supposedly delivering mail at 11 o'clock at night, so we don't even bother with you anymore. It's like, yeah, we already know the answer. But it's like, last night you go to bed, it's like, oh man, whatever. But now it's like new day. Who knows, man? We've seen, you like the Rocky stuff, so we keep, we'll keep that moving, and let's see if Rocky can get up off the canvas and get a miracle knockout or just get knocked over the ropes. But
they won one in Houston already, so they can do it. They proved they can do it.
It's gonna be tough. Like I said, Houston, they're proving why they're the best team out there. Unlike some other teams that we know. I'm not gonna mention no names, but yeah, I am Mr. Sports Card Nobody. LA Dodgers, they suck. But no, seriously, no, they came to play. Houston. At first, I was like, "Oh man, we went up 2-1, and the Phillies were really rocking and rolling, baby." Bryce Harper was doing his thing. I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna do the same thing that we did every other series. We split at their place, come back, and I was hoping to win all 3 at home. Obviously, that didn't happen, and here we are. Down 3. They just got to win one more. So hopefully, we got 2 games in Houston, man. Anything can happen, though.
So by the time this airs, the World Series is over, no matter what. So, commish, do they pull off the miracle?
My here says yes, but I don't know if they can. They're facing a juggernaut. They were 100 and how many games? 110, 106 games they won.
Yeah,
it was a lot, and that pitching staff. It's tough. They got some heavy hitters too. Pena, that kid, he's rookie, and he's playing balling out. The Phils were just so close last night to winning that game, and I mean Schwarber's ball off the outfield wall when they caught that.
It's crazy.
So there was so many different little things. That ball that who was it? Hit right up the first baseline.
That was Schwarber. That was
Schwarber too.
That was Schwarber. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, just right up the first baseline, we usually wouldn't have gotten that ball. Like, there's just so many little nuances of the game that just kind of like, almost. But I don't know if they have it. I mean, Phillies they're not even supposed to be here in the World Series,
right?
I felt good about St. Louis, and then the Braves. They always seem to have our number, and we won that one, and then beating the Padres. So I mean, we got to be happy with what the team did already this year, no matter what. I think that's
agreed. That's what I'm saying. Like, no matter what, we're gonna be proud of our boys. They already had an improbable run. For them to be where they are and even go up in the World Series after how Houston was dominating in the AL, and just to go ahead and win one over there and then come back and take the lead. I mean, them guys are playing their hearts out. And that's the kind of team that we love, that scrappy team that just never gives up. And they got the Bombers, man, the Broad Street Bombers. They can make it happen. Do they do it? Do they do it? Do they do it? You know what? I'm going to say yes, just because I am the homer of all homers, baby. And, listen, this is going to get into something a little bit later, but I'm going to say it right now. And this is part of my man law. So when you're in situations like this, all right, talk shit when you could talk shit. And I'm talking shit right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the World Series. My team is undefeated, the Philadelphia Eagles. We got MLS, our guys, the Union. Oz is talking shit. Right now, we are, I don't know, how do I say, the center of the sports universe when it comes to everything that's going on, other than basketball, which it'll turn around. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, yeah, bro, talk shit when you could talk shit. Sorry about all the shit.
Well, fair enough. You definitely have a master's degree in, talking when you got to talk. So
It's Friday night, baby.
yeah, it's Friday Night Live, right? Um,
After
so
dark.
absolutely. So one thing I want to get into, recent pickup we talked about last week, when I was going over my stuff, and I had said to you, man, it's been a while since you've picked up anything, and you're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but I mean like a banger that the Iverson Heat. And so it was a special week for Cousin Oz, a belated happy birthday to Cousin Oz.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy
So
birthday.
happy birthday. And what's crazy is on your birthday,
Yeah.
that purchase you said that was coming at the end of November somehow showed up. So for those that didn't see it, check out our IG and Oz's IG too, at Oz the People's Mailman or Cousins_collectibles, and you'll see pictures of Oz's birthday present.
To himself.
To
Yep,
himself, yeah.
absolutely. Happy birthday to me. So Oz, talk about what you got in the mail and kind of the process of how it all worked out.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been doing a couple other things, collecting toys, He-Man, Stranger Things. We sent out the submission to PSA. So there's about 22 cards. So I had to put a little bit of money aside for that, just waiting for that to come in. And, I'm a mailman. I don't have Nat Turner money. So I got to be very judicious with what I can spend. Cousin Tony over here, it seems to be, rolling in the dough all of a sudden. So Cousin I's got to pick and choose. But I've always been, like I said, Allen Iverson is my PC, and I constantly they're still on my watch list. I always look every day on my eBay, but I cooled off a little bit. But then something popped up where I was like, I think this is something that I was looking at. It was on auction, and the price was really good. It was really low, and there was a couple days left. I said, let me keep my eye on this one, and if it doesn't get over a certain price, I'm going to put in a bid, and hopefully I can win it. And the day came to get the end of the auction there, and I won. And it was the 2013 Fleer Retro Allen Iverson Metal Universe PMG Red. So basically, my first PMG. It isn't the original from '97, but it's very hard to see here just because of the way. But yeah, I got a nice picture of it on the Cousins Collectibles and Oz the People's Mailman. But yeah, man, these things in hand, the PMGs, the precious metal gems, we're gonna get into it because I love them. But the guy right below me, the cousin Neil at Irish Flyers Collector, he kind of has a different opinion of them. But to me, these represent 90s basketball. This is like the ultimate insert, of inserts when it comes to the 90s. Now, like I said, this is a 2013 Fleer Retro. So if you look, it's Allen Iverson, but of course he's in his college uniform because they didn't have the license at the time. It had just gone to Panini. So they're in the college uniforms and those, but it's still dope because that to me, I love Allen. Like I have a special spot for Georgetown Hoyas anyway. So I love seeing Allen Iverson before all the tattoos, before the cornrows and the afro and, all that, and just looking all, majestic in his, Hoyas uniform there. So I just absolutely love this card. The shine, the serial number is dope, man. Like I said, it is the perfect 90s card when it comes to that. So that's it, man. That's what I got. Came right on my birthday.
Beautiful. So before we get into the little debate that I think we basically text about this, the PMGs almost every day, just about.
Yeah, say it's weekly.
Yeah, definitely weekly, but sometimes daily. But two things I wanted to ask you. The first one, how long were you watching that?
This one, this particular card?
This particular card. And secondly, why didn't you tell me? Because I would have liked to watch the auction. That was very selfish of you.
Yeah.
Because it was one of those, like, I didn't know, because there's been a lot of Iversons. Like I said, somebody's on there dumping some bangers.
Mhm.
and they're starting like I'm look watching the auctions and they're like at $80, $100, 150 with like 3 days left, and I'm like, all right, let me keep my eye on this. And then by the time of the auction, that thing's jumped up to 700, 800, like that one I was showing you the other day.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I said this might be, I'm usually like for a long time I've had that particular PMG, the retro fleer. I was looking at a 9,
Mm.
and of course the prices were up over $1,000, even higher than that. So I never pulled the trigger on one, and this one just popped up on one of the searches, and I was like, man, an 8. And now at this point it's like I'm not even really concerned about, especially a PMG. I'm not concerned about the grade.
Nope.
I just want the card. There's only, what I mean, it's out of 150. These particular
Yeah.
ones, the red ones, the 2013, the originals are out of 100.
Mhm.
Where there's 90,
And 10.
uh, yeah, 90 and 10. So 90 of the red and 10 of the green. But these particular ones, they have the 150. So I was just, let me get one. There's only those, and I've been looking at it for since I started.
Yeah.
Because obviously I can't afford the one from 97, 98. That is just, minimum 20K.
Whew. Yeah, that's
I'm not
crazy.
playing like, what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not there yet.
Yeah. But
A
again,
lot of mail.
thanks for not telling me because I would have liked to watch the
Well,
fireworks.
there was no guarantees, and I didn't want you to get all,
Uh,
oh man, what the hell?
I would have, I would have held you and hugged you and whatever. But, um, but so let's talk about a little bit about the PMGs.
Mhm.
I'll let you go first, Oz. Yeah. Why do you love? Everybody seems to love the PMGs for the most part, from
Mhm.
what I see online, right? So why? What is it to you about the PMG that attracts you to it and makes you smile?
Yeah. So I found out about the PMGs, from the House of Jordans podcast.
Mhm.
Chris McGill and his girl. They Christina's PC. I always forget the other gentleman, but the three of them, they spoke about the PMGs, and I know Chris had a red PMG Jordan, and that was his prized possession at that time. And I mean, to have a red PMG Jordan, what I mean, an original is pretty dope. And the way they spoke about it being like one of the original shiny cards, and then a low serial number in the 90s, and at that point in time, a lot of these cards, they had serial numbers, but it'd be like ridiculous numbers, out of 1,000, out of 15,000, out of 25,000. And you see these serial numbers on those cards from back in the day, and you just chuckle because now we're all talking about out of 10, out of 5, out of 1 and 1s, and it's all manufactured scarcity. But these particular ones, when the arenas came up with the concept and that whole metal universe, I mean, it's just art what they did with these cards. And the cream of the crop when they put this card set together were these PMG inserts, and the fact that for a green there was only 10 of them. I couldn't imagine just pulling one of these cards, opening a box and getting a green anything. It didn't matter what the player was, but God forbid you got a Jordan or an Iverson or somebody high caliber, Kobe Bryant. Like these cards, it's just there's a mystique behind these cards, and I wouldn't say 9 times out of 10 people love them, but then there's that 1 time out of 10 where there's people that just don't see what the hype is about them. They're like, it's just a card that it's red or green. I don't see it as just a guy on a card. Oh, they slap a serial number on there, doesn't mean crap to me.
Right.
There's the purists, but to me, it's like the ultimate insert card. That it's the biggest chase card out there. And if you were to get one, when you get one in hand, and even the biggest hater of all haters, that guy,
Yeah.
um, you'll be like, yeah, this is a nice card.
Right.
You got
All
to
right.
get that. You got to get that Gretzky.
Yeah. So fair enough. So and before we get, for every action, there's a reaction. What I wanted to say is like signs of like a good wolf pack is that it's not an echo chamber.
Yeah.
I can say something, and you guys would be like, nah, this, that, and then whatever. Like, because if we're all saying the same thing, that's boring and stupid. So,
Yeah.
you know, so to present the other side of the argument,
Is this the counterpoint?
yeah, this is the counterpoint. Commish, tell us why you. I don't want to say hate. I just want to
Yeah.
say why
Why are
you.
PMGs not my thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No,
It's kind of like
why do you hate PMGs?
I hate PMGs. All of a sudden, that's called hobby suicide. That's what
Yeah.
that is. No, I'm like Tom Hanks in the movie Big when he's in the conference room and they're presenting him the robot that transforms in the building. I don't
Yeah.
get it. No, I do get it because having been a collector in the '90s and stuff, and all, I kind of got out by the time those came in, and inserts weren't a huge thing when I was a major collector. It was all basically the inserts were like the player's all-star card
Yeah.
or their, points leader or home run leader or most hits or most goals. Those were the inserts back then in the 90s when I was still majorly collected. So all this stuff kind of happened when I was out, like the 97s. And we've had many talks about them. And, I understand, Oz's appreciation for them and anybody's really, especially the originals.
Hmm.
Um, for me, once I got back into the hobby, my two senseis helped me get up to speed. And, we were talking about different things and teaching me the pitfalls, the different things to look forward to, look at, auto cards, on card auto, sticker auto. And I've kind of adopted some of those things. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like it registers in my head. Like, yes, this card was in so-and-so's hand. Right, and they signed it, or it's a sticker. It's a little lower value. Event worn jersey pieces, patches, game used, understanding the differences, those types of things. So those increased values compute in my head and make sense, right? So there's and especially rarity, game used patch, 1 of 15, 1 of 10, pieces of equipment, that type of stuff in games, that all computes in my head. Um, but and I can even understand the original PMGs, right? The original ones because they were so new. It was new technology, as Oz has explained to me many times, and the shiny cards, I get it. But everything else about the rest of them, the ones that have come out ever since '97, to me, I don't get it because it's just I feel it's false advertising. There's nothing precious metal or gem in the cards. But right. So there's that. I mean, I got some metal Lindros cards that are probably worth like 73 cents, but I mean, but they're actual metal. Um, but if they had I get it more if there was actually some, flecks of gem into the paint or something like that. Like that I get. Otherwise, I just kind of feel like it's manufactured value. That it's the repeating what was done before in the 97s, and everybody's after those, especially the newest ones. So I don't and some of the I mean the cards weren't even in the same room as the players, let alone a piece of jersey, a piece of equipment, an autograph, like all that stuff that makes sense to me as far as adding extreme value to a card. Um, that's kind of what my hang up is. I just kind of can't understand it other than it being a shiny, cool looking card of a player. And it's so for me, it's just they're not my jam. I understand there are a lot of people's,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't understand why it seems like the entire hobby chases these cards when there's other ones that I've got plenty. One of ones I would get if they were all one of ones. Maybe I'd get it more, but to throw a $20,000 price tag on some of these cards when they weren't even maybe not even in the same state as the players. Like I don't understand the value. And that's just
Yeah.
me. So there I will never have one, probably. I don't see it, but because they just kind of don't hit me. And they don't hit me in the feels like they hit Oz. So
Yeah.
I get it. It's hey, I collect hockey, you know. So I'm already a niche. I'm already a niche guy. A lot of people don't get that. So I
Yeah.
understand it, if
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, it's fair. So, it's one of those things that with the manufacturer, like you say, with it. I mean, you can say that about a lot of
All,
cards, most
all
cards,
mhm,
So, but yeah, like I said, it's just one of those things it doesn't hit in the feels for you. And I get it.
mhm,
Like I said, we talk about it all the time. And I
mhm.
know Oz is chomping at the bit just to give one more rebuttal. And we're not going to sit here and do a whole trial, but I'll throw the ball in his court real quick and let him
He's like the
respond.
moderator. It's by the time this thing airs, it's right before election day. This is perfect mountain bound.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to start muting people real quick. So, but
I'm
Oz,
gonna shut off your mic, the delegate from
yeah,
the hockey collectors.
yeah,
No, like I said, the newer PMGs, I totally get it. But then again, you look at these cars that we talked about with the on card autos and the pieces of jersey; those didn't come into later anyway as well. So like the original PMGs, the 97, 98, that wasn't manufactured scarcity. It was scarce. There was only 10 of those, green, and only 90 of the red, and that's it. And you were lucky to be able to get that. The odds of getting these types of cars they're crazy. And now that the people that they have them, they know how rare these cars are, and it doesn't even matter with the 97, 98 what grade. A lot of them are graded at a 3 or 4 just because the technology wasn't meant to last as the way it is. Even the ones that are encapsulated, they chip, so it's not even about that. It's just about the chase. It's the ultimate chase card. And I'm telling you, you get one in your hand, it may look just like a red card, like you see the player and it just looks red in the back. But when you take it, you look at it, you turn it, you flip it, and you look, and it's just a piece of art that it's like, wow, that's a beautiful card. And the arenas, they just outdid themselves with that entire set. And there's so many things that they did with the cut above, and just all kinds of crazy things and innovations that they did with these cards. So to me, it's just like, it's a culmination of that entire set, and it's the best of the best. It's the cream of the crop. But on to the next. Haters will be haters.
Well, in the 90s, especially, having a card serial numbered of 90 or of 10 was absurd. Like I was chuckling when you were talking about the serial numbers of some cards. I think I have one that's like serial number 7,235 of 10,000.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I got one. No,
it
really means nothing. But like I said, the 97s, I get it. Like I get that, but all the new ones after that, I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
if it floats your boat, great. I don't besmirch anybody for collecting them. They're just my thing. I love that you got yours, Oz. I mean, that's and
like I said, like I even said before, it's not the grade that I wanted, and it's not the one that I wanted, but that's what I can afford now. And I just wanted to get a representation in my collection of Allen Iverson, and I figured it's a great price point. Might as well snag it up.
Yeah, that's perfect. Like you always say, when you come over to somebody's house and you look at their cards and you see their collection in the PC, you want to know what they're about. Well, that card sits right smack on top of the pile that you're going to hand somebody to say, look at my cards to see who I am.
Got that right.
I get that. That's awesome.
Well said, gentlemen. So glad I didn't have to beep anybody, kick anybody off the stream. And Oz, you talked about the price point. Speaking of that, PSA dropping bulk submissions to $15. Those are modern cars, 96 to the present. We did ours at 18, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so we got the $18 sub, so we're already in the hole.
Yeah.
So that's nice. So we got that going for us. Yeah, we got that going for us. So but thoughts on that? Where do you think it's going? Do you think it stops? Pros, cons, things like that. Kamish?
Well, back in the day, like before I got back in it, what was their lowest point? Like $8, was it? Like when everybody was sending like any and every card, it was like $8, right, to send them off. And that was, you didn't have to do group submissions for that either, too, right?
No.
So I don't know if it'll go that low. I mean, maybe just keep it at, maybe they'll hit an even 10 and stop there. Maybe it'll be 15, but I think it's going to be a round number. I just think they keep knocking off $3 at a time. But it's, as I heard on another podcast with Nat from PSA, that they celebrated getting out of the hole, and I think that's why we're seeing these. Obviously, that is why we are seeing these decreases. I think it's just to kind of help them ease their way back into it. Some collectors might be, all right, well, let me see how much lower it will. Maybe I'll wait one more. Maybe I'll wait a couple more weeks, and maybe they'll go in it, when it hits 13 or 12, or, So, but I think it's helping them ease back in. now that they've kind of dug out from the big, massive pile of cards they were laying under due to the COVID era. So I think it's good. But I hope they keep it to the point where people aren't sending in, you know, junk cards again and just anything and everything. Even
That's
though
yeah,
I'm a base card kind of guy
yeah.
with my players, I still wouldn't send them in. I just know they're not worth it. But I think the hobby's gotten smarter, so I think they're not sending in anything and everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
I mean, for me, other than PC, a
yeah,
lot of the stuff that I sent in was PC. We're going to be collectors nowadays are going to be more judicious. They know that they just can't pull some random, say Zion Williamson, and then just this will grade a 10 and it'll sell for $500, $600. It just doesn't work that way anymore because the base cards
mhm,
just aren't valued as much as they were a year or two ago. So I think people are just going to be a lot smarter with what they're doing, and I think it's just great that PSA has finally come down. SGC for a while kind of was king, and they had the nice price point. I think PSA was like, "Yo, we need to start doing our thing, get these prices down before SGC takes the lead." And
mhm.
Nat Turner had a great interview with cousin John and said a lot of great things. And PSA is king, man. And the fact that they're dropping these, it's like I've been chomping at the bit, waiting to get a ton of these cars that I just been having sitting. And these top loaders, I was like, man, over a year and a half because I didn't want to send it at the price point. They were like $150, craziness, and it was just like, nah, I'm not. I'm just gonna wait. So now, $18, I was happy. Now it's 15, even better. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I just that I mean Neil touched on it too. I was like, man, I wonder if are they gonna, get the backlogs again? Is everybody gonna start hammering? Because I mean, yeah, we're not talking about sending in base cards as much anymore, but I mean, dude, there's been people sitting on stuff for
yeah,
just
Mhm.
say 2 years.
hmm
So I mean,
Yep.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know that they've upped the the graders and all that stuff. So and then again, shout out to cousin John Newman. He had Nat Turner on his podcast, and Nat talked about it. He goes, dude, that's our worst nightmare to
Yeah.
have that backlog again. So we're gonna
Mhm.
try and do everything we can, whether it be shut the door for a while. We can't you can't have people's cards sitting there for 2 years. It just not
No.
that's not
So
cool.
do they just raise prices again once it gets out of
Yeah,
hand?
well, that's yeah. So yeah, I don't know. You either shut the door, you raise the price, something to curtail because you can't. Again, if they don't want to go through that again. That's not
No.
Yeah.
cool. You
Well,
know.
the nice thing is, I mean, if one thing happened, like COVID did affected so many businesses, so many lives, they've seen the worst of what storm can come, and they've known and they've understood it. We never had nobody living experienced anything like this before,
Right.
so they didn't know what to expect. I mean, where I work, we had a major increase of online sales of our products, and
Mhm.
because we sell food. So we weren't prepared for that. Our stuff went up a lot. So I think they also probably changed their process internally. They've had 2 years of changing their processes, expediting things, um, ramping up staff. So I think all those things help. I think they're going to be much better, more prepared for an influx of cards. Um, no matter
Yeah.
what it is, even as their prices drop down. So, but I don't think they're going to, knock on wood, I hope for their sake they don't see anything like they did in the past because I think it's the culmination of everybody being smarter, knowing what to send, what not to send, that type of stuff. Like you said, the more judicious collectors is a big
Mhm.
going to be a big help, not just sending those cards because some cards can't handle any more of these pop counts. I mean, I don't know when the pop counts are going to start affecting tens.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But the other thing too is, I mean, there's been and it'll continue is an exodus of quote unquote collectors.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people leaving the party.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's another thing too, where they're just not going to get as many cards as they do. But one thing that they are notorious for, and I wanted to get you guys takes on, is the famous upcharge. Okay, that's just something that it's a bit of a hot button topic, and you guys actually have different. We all kind of do. Um, So Oz, I'll kick it your way. Where are you at on that? What do you think? Good, bad, indifferent.
I don't think it's good at all, especially when there's other grading companies that don't do it.
Mhm.
So and it's funny because you would think the hobby would be like, I'm not paying that upcharge, so let me go to SGC, let me go to BGS or another company. But it's like, it's funny because before the boom, BGS Beckett was number one. You had the subgrades on there, and they were rocking and rolling. They were king. And somewhere through the boom, I don't know if it was the influencers or whatever happened, they crowned PSA as king, and the amount of profit that you can get for having it in that slab just kept creeping up and up and up to where it was almost double what Beckett was, and way more than SGC at that point in time when it first all went down. And it's just crazy because it was almost like a badge of honor that if you sent a card in and you got that upcharge, you're like, yeah, you knew that's a banger. That's a card that now you can really charge something crazy. But that's how it was. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you should be thrilled to get an upcharge. And it's kind of like warped sense of you. Like, no, if I send the same card to SGC, I can get a 10 and, get it right back and sell it and make, probably more profit than sending it to you guys and having an upcharge. I just found it funny. And now, Neil, I know you listened to the episode. I can't remember exactly what Nat Turner said to justify the reason that he or Tony, do you remember what he said?
It was with regards to like the helping with their insurance costs for when they if they have to pay insurance on something, if it's not as valuable or if it's not legit and that type of stuff. And Nat was talking about how he's seen the checks. He's had to write the checks to reimburse a collector if a card wasn't, legit or whatever the reasons I've never had that, happen to me. So that's the reason why he was talking about it like that. So,
do you buy that?
Yes and no. I think it's a little bit. I mean, not to knock him. I mean, I think it's a little corporate-y. I mean, and I get it. I get it. Why? I mean, they're in a business to make money, right? So, I mean, if other companies aren't doing it, PSA is. I mean, it's funny. People call it the upcharge. Technically, isn't it kind of like ransom? Like it's a little bit like you want your car back. Oh, it's this much. So basically, what it is. So they found a way to. They add validity to your card, right? That's their business. So they're adding their value by giving you these grades in their slabs, because now their slabs are now the more coveted of the ones based off of the hobby trend. So putting in their slab gives it validation for its value and its the realness of the card. Two, it PSA a 9.5 BGS and a PSA 10. PSA 10 right now is still right above. It's always up there. So if you want to get the most value for your card, they're saying, hey, this will grade out of a 10 or whatever, and it's this card, and its secondary market value is going to be this. They just found a way to get a piece of that cut, because they're creating what they're doing. The service they're providing is helping that card get that extra value on the secondary market. So I get it. Do I like it? No, but I have the option to go somewhere else, But if I was into grading, that's my other thing. I'm not a big grader, but if that's my thing, if I was a grader, but if I want that ultimate value right now, today, 2022 November, yeah, I feel like I almost gotta put it in the PSA slab.
And let me ask you, do you remember the Mickey Mantle card that just sold for a record?
Yeah, in the SGC slab.
Yeah, SGC 9.5.
Yeah. Yep.
Just saying.
I know.
I know that guy that took it to SGC because he knew the amount of upcharge he would have for PSA, and he still set a world record.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Like, I'm not a fan of it. And Neil, to your point, like for me, the card is the card. So like, who are they? What happens in the secondary market? Who are they to decide? Why are they concerned with that? Their job is Here's the card, grade it, put it in a slab, and send it back.
That's it.
It's-
You're not doing
not
any extra work for that particular.
there's there's nothing else. Like I send it to you and you grade it and you send it back. That's
Yep.
it. What then after that, the hobby decides,
Mhm.
hey, PSA is king. Hey,
Yeah.
this guy is dude, what the heck? And I'm like, you want to talk to me about insurance? I gotta send it back. Bro, don't give me that crap. First of all, you're in the business to make money, so you're making money. Okay. So all that stuff is you can include like, again, it's a you know what? It's a ransom. I'm like, why do I gotta pay a ransom for my stuff, man? I already
Mhm.
paid you for your service. Nobody else does it. And
Mhm.
and I mean, Neil, tell the audience what you said. PSA is the hobby has given PSA the right to
They've given that, the hobby's given PSA FU rights. You know, everybody heard the FU money. They have FU rights. They can do what they want. They can raise the prices for the grading to whatever they want. It's their business, you know. And then basically it was obviously to deter people from sending stuff in because they were so buried. But they can raise the price. They can shut the doors. They can, charge whatever they want. So the hobby, by anointing or crowning PSA as the preferred grader right now, they've got FU rights. They'll do what they want to do, and that's unfortunate. But I mean, the hobby needs to either take back some of it and kind of go where they want to go, or just deal with it and suck it up and just take it up the tailpipe like Joe Pesci and Lethal Weapon. But I mean, what else are they gonna? What else can you do? I mean, you can go someplace else. I mean, technically for me, my preferred one, just on looks and the extra bells and whistles, I like the BGS looks with the subgrades and whatnot. But if I like the cards that we sent in, I sent stuff in too, and it's like, well, it's mostly PC stuff, but a couple of them were cards to sell, and I'm like, well, if I want to get the best value, it's got to go in a PSA slab.
yeah. So
Um,
it is what it is. So we'll
Yeah.
just have to see, where it goes, and that leads us into man. You know what? I'm just gonna give ourselves a pat on the back, man. Our subjects, they flow right from one to the other to the other to the other. Just saying, because it's AI grading,
Allen Iverson grading.
not Allen Iverson.
Oz is,
Yeah, not Allen Iverson grading, because all this stuff ties into to what we pay and what values we get on our cars and things like that. Where you guys at on AI grading? Yay, nay? Strictly AI grading, just
Mhm.
computer, not
No human element.
no human element. We'll talk about that a little bit. Why? But just computer. That's it.
Yeah. Listen, I don't hate it. If everything was AI, it would be consistent across the board.
Mhm.
I know when it gets into the fact that you can't, the human element, you're able to move the card around and see surface issues and this and that. But if everything's getting graded the same way, it's going to be a master of grading corners and grading the centering and all the things that go into it, and the edges. Now, the surface might be a question, but if they're all getting graded the same exact way on the surface, there's gonna, it's gonna detect some things and others not. So, and to me, like the surface, yeah, I'm more concerned with the centering and the corners when I'm looking at a car, especially say if it's vintage car.
Mhm.
But yeah, listen, if this was all across the board and doing it that way, I wouldn't mind it because I know it's going to be consistent across the board. That computer, you put whatever program you want to put it in, and that's what it is, and bang, and it's going to spit out a number. And there's no human there that's already graded 10,000 cars that day and is tired. It's the end of the day. He doesn't give a crap, and he takes a shortcut and something that should have graded, either way, either graded a 10 or graded lower. He screwed up on the job and didn't do the right thing with the computer. It doesn't get tired. It's just going to do the same thing over and over and over. So to me, I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've said that. I mean, how many times have we heard stories about somebody cracking something in a PSA case and sending it back? I mean, we were just in that one shop the other day, Tony, and they was like, "Yeah, this was I think it was a 6, and he got it back, resubmitted, and it came back a 9." Like,
Jeez.
the human element is subjective, right? It's all subjective, and like you said, it could be the person could be at the end of the day, the person could be the person might hate the player, hate the team. The player might have just knocked one out of the park on his team the other night before, put up 3 on for a game-winning buzzer beater. Like, could have happened, and you can't take the human mind out of it. So while I respect the grading talent a lot, I mean it's a hard talent to acquire. I'm terribly intrigued by it, by AI grading with Tag. I've talked to you guys about it plenty of times. I think I sent you a couple of their dig reports, and you guys were like, "Man, this is totally up your alley. Look at all those numbers." Like, you're like, "Oh my God, there's too much to look at."
Numbers Neil. Before
Numbers
the
Neil.
commish,
Yeah.
before the Irish Flyers collector, it was Numbers Neil.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued because I think you're right, Oz. It doesn't get tired. It's there's so many more data points that you're able to capture. It's looking at the front and back. I mean, we got cards. It's got a front and a back. Like, and they're analyzing the centering. Like, the back centering might be better, different, or worse, better or worse than the front. Like, so the current human grading companies are lumping the one number for the front and back of the card. They're giving it one number. I'd like to know the differences. Like, did the back affect the front more? Does it give it that reason? That's why I kind of like BGS for their subgrades. And I'm mildly terrified because I think it's going to be really, really, really accurate to a degree. And, everybody wants that 10, but I'm terribly intrigued. And I've said it before, and I'm just trying to pull some stuff together to get a submission, because I do want to send stuff off the Tag just to get it, see their slabs, get them in hand. And the process, I respect the process of it. And, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll take off. As far as AI grading, I think they're just the first. And Nat was even talking about them implementing some of the processes as well. But all along, you're going to need a human along the way. You're not going to see anything where somebody just tearing cards out of envelopes, taking them out of their things, and just inserting in the machine. And that's not going to be the way it's going to be. There's going to be a human element along the way. I think there has to be, as far as looking at something, checking the counterfeiting of a card too. I remember hearing him say that might be a concern with AI. Hey, as long there's always going to be somebody trying to counterfeit something, right? They do with everything. So if people spend half as much time counterfeiting and trying to be crooks, versus doing something the legit way, I guess. But so if that's the process, then you're going to need human elements across the way, and that's what these AI company Tag has. So I want to do it. So I just got to pull 10 cards that I want to encapsulate. But you guys know I don't have a lot of cards in slabs, so I got to pick which ones.
You got plenty to choose from, Neil.
Yeah,
I got a few.
Yeah, you're definitely not short on stock there. But my thing is, like, I like maybe like a hybrid approach to it, where kind of there is definitely I do agree. I had it here on my notes too with the human is the player or team bias. Like you said, it's we'd all like to think that everybody's on the they can just blindly grade a card, but it's tough, man. I know that if I'm looking, I'm like, like, the little ding corner here that wasn't there. That I'm like, yeah, it is, because it's whatever player, whoever. But the only thing with the computer, and Nat pointed out too, and Oz talked about how the way when you pick up the card and you can, because that's laying flat. So I don't know, unless there's a robot there that picks it up and kind of, you can turn it and this way, that way, and the other way, where you're looking for.
Go around it.
Yeah, exactly. Like little, or
the card
stuff
lays
like
flat,
that.
and the camera can go around it and analyze it. Like
Kind of, So I don't know, I don't know how deep that goes in it, because there's creases. So
I didn't quite get that when he said that about not understanding the surface, because I'm like it's the card line base, but we got drones and shit, right? I mean, they can certainly create a camera that's analyzing it at different angles. Like, it's I didn't get it myself when he said that. I'm like, what do you mean it can't see the surface of the card? But I didn't look at the process. I guarantee you he knows more about the process than I do. But I didn't get it myself. But I'm like, I'm sure that Tag, they look at those things, and just my hunch. I'm sure I could watch a video on it, but I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure on it, but if it's not, obviously it's not impossible. Like you said, we got drones. I can tell you what's going on across the world right now. You just pull it up on the computer and there it is.
Yeah.
So for some kind of camera or robot to not pick up a crease or something, I'm not sure how hard that is to do.
Mhm.
But I mean, definitely the accuracy too. Like you said, I mean, punching the numbers, this is what it's supposed to be, and the computer should be able to spit it out. But
Yeah, what is it? 1,000-point scale for a
Yeah,
perfect
it's
card?
1,000 point tag
Yeah.
grade
Mhm.
as well, and then it has the industry equivalent of a grade of 1 to 10. So
Mhm.
it's pretty
And then
cool.
they got
It's
the
pretty cool because right on the slab, it'll have your grade, whether it's a 1 to a 10, and then right next to it, it'll have that of that 1,000 where it grades at, and then
Yep.
you can specifically see exactly where and what. And that's a big thing with PSA too. And I don't know if that's their secret sauce or whatever you want to call it. I guess they went away from Beckett with the 9.5, and even at before SGC was a similar, with their grades of like an 8.7 or a 9.2. And PSA was just like, you know what? We're just gonna keep it simple, stupid. You know what I mean? 1 through 10,
mm-hmm.
you get a
Yeah.
10, that's a 10. That's a perfect card. And people were like, oh, I want the 10. So unless you were getting a pristine 10 through BGS, which was rare,
Mhm.
it just didn't happen often enough. And people, I guess, just gravitated to the simple scale.
I think everybody wants the 10. So who's
Exactly.
giving out the most 10s at the time? The company keeping it simple. Kiss, right? Kiss.
Yeah.
Keep it simple,
Keep it simple,
stupid.
stupid.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
So the company doing that, everybody wants that 10 to get that value. Now, what I think is going to be interesting, and I'm sure if there aren't videos now, there probably will be in the future, is people cracking those in PSA slabs. But I don't know who's going to have the stones to do that, but crack a 10, send it off the tag and see what happens with it. You got
Well,
to have some big
you could take
stones.
a junk slab, something that a nice
That's
base
true.
card that was a
True,
10,
true.
and just test it out and see.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that'd be cool to start doing. If I was tag, if Jeremy leaves, if he's listening, I'd start advertising that stuff because see what they are.
And
But I
listen,
don't know if that's good or bad. I think the hobby might not like it. They
Cousins
want them tens.
Collectibles is always willing to advertise. So just throwing
So,
it out there.
but
Hit
I'm
me
ready to
up,
send
Jeremy. Let's talk.
stuff.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So, coming down the home stretch here, I'll kick it to Oz because these last two topics are kind of in his wheelhouse. And, I'll let him set these up. It's going to be a little fun coming down the home stretch here.
All right. So when we were watching these games the other day, especially with the Phillies, uh you start thinking about all these superstitions and all these things that you do to try to help your team win. And for me, just for one example, it's just it always pops in my head, Lucky Dog. When I used to work at my previous job, we used to have a mascot. His name was Lucky Dog. So whenever it's like a tense moment, I need a strikeout or I need a home run from Bryce, I grab my dog and I talk to her and I let Bubbles know, listen, I need you to be Lucky Dog right now. And I pet her on her head and I look at her deep in her eyes and I say, I need you right now, Lucky Dog. I need you. And 9 times out of 10, it worked. It didn't work these last 2 nights, but the first couple games, it was working with my Lucky Dog.
You need a new
Um,
dog.
yeah. And then a big thing that brought this to mind was this was I believe Tuesday, or was it Wednesday night that you went?
Wednesday night, yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday night. So we were up already 2-1, and this was to take a stranglehold of the series. And we were actually scheduled to do an interview that night and record our podcast. And Tony, out of the blue, just sends a text. He's like, "Hey, I found some great tickets for the Sixers." And I'm like thinking in my head, what, dude, you gotta stay focused, dog. We got Philly. What do you mean six? It's like, yeah, it's a suite and great price, me and my wife and da da da. And as soon as he said that, it's just like my mind just went to, we're losing. Like I'm losing Tony's focus from the Phillies. He's going to a Sixers game. He's gonna be driving back. He's not gonna be focused. I need every fan up in this mother to be focused for us to win. And it's just crazy stuff that goes in your mind. And then Tony, tell your story when you got to the Sixers game, why you thought the Phillies lost.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're crazy. But
Well, yeah, we all are. But tell them
yeah.
your theory's crazy
So,
too.
yeah. So I go to the Sixers game, which I I love my. I want to watch my Sixers. So so while everybody was at the World Series, I did a Neil. When everybody's buying PMGs, I went and bought a base card. So, um, so I was like, oh, cause sweet. So everybody's unloading their Sixers tickets because it is what it is. The biggest show in town is next door. So I go to the game, and for the Sixers before the game, they bring out this faux Liberty Bell,
Yeah, Liberty Bell.
and whoever it is that they choose that day gets to hit the bell with a little hammer type thing, yeah, and it gets the crowd riled up. So they had a local sports radio host come on, and he promptly takes the hammer and tries to break the bell because he takes this crazy swing, and the hammer flies out of his hand and drops it. I'm like, uh-oh. I was like, this cannot be good. So I got a little bit of it. So while Oz blames me, I blame the guy who dropped the hammer.
You blame the cuz Anthony
Yeah.
Gargano.
Yeah. So to me, he owes the city of Philadelphia a huge apology for dropping the Liberty Bell hammer, and nobody's won a game since he's dropped the hammer. Just saying. So
Sixers included. Well,
Yeah.
actually, that's not true.
well,
The Eagles just went
Uh,
that's
8-0.
true, but I'm kind of like the Eagles are kind of like on their own little island right now. This little, they're out there
Can-
doing their thing.
Can I talk about the quietest 8-0 team ever in the history of the NFL?
That's okay.
I know it's okay,
That's
Yeah.
okay.
but it's just funny because if it was, say, the Patriots or Kansas City, Buffalo, do you know the amount of hype that they would be going on the hype train for these guys right now? And it's like the Eagles, oh yeah, they're 8-0, they got the softest schedule in the world, blah blah blah. But my thing is real quick.
It's that.
In the NFL, guys, I'm gonna ask you, Neil, and I'm gonna ask you, there's only so many good teams this year. It's like the league is trash and there's 3 or 4 good teams.
Mhm.
Am I wrong in that?
No, it's crazy. I mean, Packers getting beat up a little bit here and there. It's not what they were used to. Like you said, what if it was an 8-0 Packers team? Like everybody would tell it'd be the lead story about Packers and Rodgers, and Buffalo's lost a couple games. The Rams, right? They lost a bunch of
Rams
games.
lost. The Rams are like, even Tampa Bay, Tony's picked to go to the
Tampa.
Super Bowl, they're falling apart. And I told
Yeah.
you, didn't I tell you? Remember when you picked them? And I said, listen, he's lucky if Giselle lets his ass out of training camp. And I said, I guarantee you that's going to be something that comes to rear its ugly head. And it did.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. We as human beings, there's sometimes you just can't separate real life, from sport. And Tom's trying to do that as best as possible, but it's having an effect on him and his play.
Listen,
Yeah.
the NFC, and this kind of ties back into the faction episode that we had with Shane, where we're talking about rip it and slab it, and we're talking about Hurts. The NFC is in transition. Okay. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, all those guys are on the back nine. Hell, they're probably on 18.
Yeah.
So when we talked about Hurts, about it, dude, it's him, and I'm trying, not off the top of my head, anybody else.
Josh
young
Allen,
quarterback.
Joe Burrow.
Right, but that's in the AFC. I'm just talking about NFC.
Yeah, okay.
So, it's him and who else? I off the top of my head, I don't know, but so it's the time. Like you could see the league is turning over. I mean, all those teams that were pretty good for a lot of years are kind of falling by the wayside. And I mean, you're right, dude. Obviously, with Brady, he ain't right. He's not right. And I don't know that the switch is not going to flip. Like all those guys are not going to get younger. The Rams look like they're just old as heck. Despite what Shane says, the Niners are a good team.
Yeah, Niners are good. Listen, you got Niners are good. We already beat Minnesota. We're only Minnesota's. Their only losses to us. They're 6-1.
Right.
We beat the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are what, 5-2.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, and they're in the mix too. They'll be in the mix.
And hey, you can't throw the Giants under the bus either. They beat a lot of good teams. So it's like the NFC East went from the worst division to like now the best division all of a sudden. Even Washington is 4-4, I believe. So
yeah.
There's a lot of teams out there that we don't even think about that they're playing well. And like I said, with the Eagles and the trajectory that they're on, it's like you look at their schedule. There's a couple tough games on there, but they really do have a possibility, which is crazy to say. And it's not me being a homer, but they can go undefeated. And I think yesterday's game, Thursday against the Texans, I think that was our trap game, and they still managed and found a way to win that pretty easily. So, listen, what the Phillies are, I mean, the Eagles, I'm just saying, like, what they're doing is special. It's going under the radar, and I like it that way.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
No problem. I know you always be like, nah, we should be. It's cool, bro. The shine's gonna come, and it'll come when it's time. Like, you know, like, it's
BMG,
cool. Yeah,
the
it's gonna
BMG
come like that.
attention is coming.
Yeah. And so, listen, we only got to play one team out of the AFC, so that let these guys, the Bills or Kansas City, who else out of in the AFC, like. I guess Baltimore.
It's always those two, and and then you have
Yeah.
Baltimore was in them, but it's those two, and you got Miami on the come up, but it's about those two guys.
The league is definitely right for the picking. I don't
Well,
want to hear. My point is, I don't want to hear the Eagles are where they are because of their weak schedule. Everybody is weak except for 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, and you talk about you had the superstitions, but you wanted to ask us about something.
So that there's certain things that like, for example, my 2 co-hosts here tonight, they have quirks, like it's quirky things that we do as sports fans. Like, to me, like, for example, and you've seen it, I had Carson Wentz jersey on a couple times. I'd like to say it's AJ Brown, but it's Carson Wentz, unfortunately. Number 11. Now, Tony wouldn't be caught dead wearing that jersey. Neither would Neil.
Actually, I own one.
You own one, but would you wear it?
Not today, no.
Did you buy it?
Yeah, I bought it.
So then it's only Tony on an island.
It's just me.
Tony has a lot of crazy, quirky things when it comes to sports that he says things, and I'm just like, dude, that makes no goddamn sense. And he's like, nah, that's just the way it is. I'm like, maybe to you, but to nobody else. But go ahead and give me your theory on say jerseys, wearing somebody's jersey.
Just jerseys.
Yeah, that's my number one. I will not wear a jersey of anyone younger than me. That's it. I don't.
So, like, Jalen Hurts, we get a nice dope Jalen Hurts jersey. We win the Super Bowl. You wouldn't rock a Jalen Hurts jersey?
No.
I wouldn't either, but it's not because of Jalen Hurts. Well, I understand it. It's not as crazy as you think it is. Like, players younger than you. I mean, we're all at that age now where every player is younger than us except for Brady.
Yeah, obviously.
But I kind of get it. Because I got caught up, but I think it's just too volatile. I mean, I got burned. I told you about that Flyers jersey I bought at a playoff game when they ended up losing. It was the captain, Mike Richards. And I was like, oh, that's a pretty safe jersey to get. I hadn't had one since Lindros. So I went in on the captain jersey, and literally that offseason, he got traded. And I was like, I just bought this thing, and I just got burned,
Yeah. That's different, though. He just won't do it because the person is younger than him. Yeah, it has nothing to do with, because, like, for example, let's just say, for example, Jalen Hurts, we win the Super Bowl this year, and he just goes on a trajectory. Then a couple years from now, he gets traded. So that's neither, you know what I mean, regardless. But that point in time, it's like buying a card. It's like getting, you know what I mean, a nice Darth Vader card.
He didn't get traded or get at it.
And that's just a little pump from my man, great curator. But anyway, no, but it's just like buying a car for a certain, for that moment in time, that particular player, they meant something to you. And when you look at that card, you go back to that, specific memory at that time. So why wouldn't you purchase a Jalen Hurts, who was the quarterback of your team that led, craziness? We went undefeated. Let's just say this shit just happened. Let's just say, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it did, we went undefeated. You would not get a Jalen Hurts jersey to commemorate the best season all time?
No,
You're on crack. Shut up.
bro.
Yeah.
It's to me, it's silly. Yo,
What is
dude,
this silly?
it's silly to me, and sorry if anybody, this is just my thing,
But
bro. It's just it's silly to
because he's
me.
younger than you.
Yeah, bro. It's just silly. Like it's just to me, it's just it's silly. I don't know how to explain it. It's
Well,
just one of those,
I need more than I'm. It's just
bro.
silly.
Okay, look,
I think
I'm a
it's the
grown ass,
heroes.
bro.
I
I'm
think
a grown ass man,
I
and I
get
go to
that.
work every day, and then I'm gonna go and rock some dude's jersey who's young. Like it just, I'm like, what? It just feels
A dude
weird,
that
man.
just took your team. You know what I
I don't
mean?
care.
17 games in the regular season, then they won how many to win a Super Bowl, and the greatest season of all time. You're just
Yeah.
putting your just taking that, and it's a memento. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
you want to rock the best season all time of an Eagles guy?
yeah.
Especially if you're Eagles. Like you say, there's
They're my
football
favorite.
season, and then there's waiting for football season.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
you're
not even like,
diehard, but you can't
dude.
justify.
No. No, not at all. Not at all. Not him, not Maxi, not Embiid, not any of these cats. Nobody. Nobody. Now we're talking old school guys. Yep, no problem. I'll buy jersey. But new guys, yo, it's one of those things for me. And hey, the commission doesn't like PMGs, and I don't like young buck jerseys. That's it. All right. That's the lesson of the episode today.
I kind of get it because I think sports goes around heroes that you looked up to, as a kid, and I kind of get that, like with Clemente, like and it's
Mhm.
also kind of cooler for us to like rocking the guys that we looked up to who are older than us, growing up, like the Dawkins and
Mhm.
McNabb and Owens,
And I don't really look at it like what I look at it too is getting a jersey of my team. So I'm
Mm.
trying to get the best player. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
if I want to get a brand new jersey, like those new jerseys are dope. We got the ones from like 1980, 90. They're like 10 times bigger than you. And it's like, this fucking thing is huge as shit. You look like an idiot. Especially, everybody got that Dominican style. You got to look nice and tight. So uh,
Yeah,
that's how you
well,
got to
The
rock
fit.
these jerseys nowadays. It's just
The
the
fit.
slim fit.
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
get it.
no,
Teach
yeah,
their own.
yeah, not for me. I have one, and it sits in the closet, and then every once in a while I wear it over
And
a
that's
hoodie.
another thing. The one that I did have, the Randall Cunningham, I got in a, you know,
Yeah, the thing is that the biggest part of it is that these guys don't last. They're not around forever anymore.
Like
They're
they
here.
used to.
Yeah, they're here for one contract, maybe two. Quarterbacks, a little bit, but
yeah. But
forget about
that's what I'm
running
saying.
backs.
Extreme
It's like,
cases, extreme cases. Like I didn't buy that Wentz jersey. Somebody bought that for me. I think it was my daughter. But like I said, if like for a special occasion where we went, like I said, we went undefeated. Like,
Mhm.
why wouldn't I want to get a jersey of Hertz, who led our team to do that? But that's
Well,
it. We'll leave it at that.
yeah, yeah,
Tony's crazy.
yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
yeah,
Hey, I
just
want a Couturier jersey in the worst way, the Flyers, but I haven't
nope,
brought myself to do it. Like,
nope, don't do it.
ugh.
So, hey,
Coots.
last topic. It was something that John touched on with Nat. It was the next big thing. What's going to be the next big thing, right? And they talked about game tickets.
Mm. What are those for
Yeah,
all the
exactly,
newer listeners?
exactly. What are those? Do you guys agree, disagree? Kind of where you at, Kamish?
I get it. I have tickets to games that I went to. Like I know that I have a shoebox of game tickets, movie tickets. I've got my season tickets from the Eagles' first season at the Link. I had season tickets that year. I saved them. I just never got my butt around to putting them in the frame that I have in my mind. Like I have it in my mind because I know it'll cost probably about $200 to do that. I just got to think if it's that worthwhile. So I get it. I've got some pretty cool tickets that mean something to me. So I guess I get it. It might be the next thing. I mean, but I think the one hang up I see is I think people have a personal connection to the tickets that they have and they own because they were at the event. So it's a little bit different, but I understand the value of a ticket to stub to say a game, Jackie Robinson's first game, professional game, or last game, or when something special happened in the game. That adds value to it. But I think the ones that everybody has from when they went and when they actually used to give you paper tickets and they'd tear them off.
Mhm.
That means more, I think, to the nostalgia collectors. When they stopped, just about 5-10 years ago, maybe. So
Yeah.
um, they're going to be I guess, a forgotten thing. I like the convenience today. Trust me. I mean, that's how you got to your Sixers game so quick this
Yeah.
year, just this week. But I think that the meaningfulness of it. Otherwise, it's got to be an important event that happened at that game. That's what I see.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the values drop and
Yeah.
rise because of what happened, or who played in the game, or was it
Right.
their last game, first game? That's the
Yeah,
type of
and there's tickets to everything. It could be a Broadway play. It could be, a presidential election. It could be, so there's so many things that this thing can go, not just sports.
right.
It's just specific memories that people have, but like important things that you can get slabbed up now. You talked
Yep.
about you had all these tickets, you wanted to put it in a frame and it's going to cost this amount of money. Now you can just send it to PSA, you get it graded, and now you have a collectible.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's true.
So if you wanted to, obviously you would probably keep that in your collection for the rest of your life. But if
I'm going to
you,
get upcharged.
yeah, I don't know, do they upcharge on tickets?
Oh no, they better not.
Why not?
Why not?
They'd be like, well, this was a PSA 10 here.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
This
but
is the
that's the other
highest
thing.
graded Jordan rookie debut ticket.
You're not going to find things. And the nice thing too is, think about it too. They're almost serial numbered, right? Based on the capacity of the crowd. So they are limited to a certain number, and even more rare to who the heck saved them. Like John touched on in the interview, some of them ended up crumpled in pockets or thrown away or went through the wash. So yeah,
Well,
there's even more rare.
The smart people that were looking ahead, they were the ones that were going around picking up the tickets after everybody left, knowing, you know what? I think these will be, later down the line. I think I might be able to do something with these, and they kept a ton of them. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For me, it's another one of these quirky things. If I wasn't there, I probably don't care too much.
Mm.
But then there's I don't want to say extreme examples, but you said Jackie Robinson, Abe Lincoln, stuff like that. So I can see that the collectability of it all. But definitely, like, if there's no tie to the game, it's gonna be tough for me just to buy a random Eagles ticket that somebody has, up there. It's just like, okay, what I don't care if I wasn't there or something crazy didn't happen. So yeah,
you would probably like say a Roberto Clemente, either maybe
you would want one of those.
3,000 hit when he got his
Yeah.
3,000 hit or something, a special occasion.
Yep.
You would get something like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 1,000%. Yeah. But other than like a regular Joe Schmo game,
Yeah.
it's just crazy. And one thing before we close out, so we all kind of just started digging through and looking for tickets, and Neil has the what you have, Lindros debut.
I've got my 2 Flyers tickets to games. So where's the one? This is Lindros's first home game with the Flyers.
Mm-hmm.
And this one that I have is from his first hat trick ever scored as a professional hockey player. So
Nice.
yes, these are 2 games I went to. They mean a lot to me. I did post them on my IG back a while ago when Irish Flyer Collector was just a noob. But yeah, these are 2 tickets I have, and I have a whole box. And these are actually stay in my Lindros box of cards. But I have a whole shoebox full of tickets that are other games. I've got I know I have when Flyers played the Kings when Gretzky was there, and Edmonton. I have ticket stubs to both those games. So that's just 2 that I happen to have in my card box of Lindros cards.
Yeah. Get those babies slabbed up.
I know. I think I have to now. They got a little creased and stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's all right.
But they were in the pocket, but I kept them.
Yeah.
I kept all that crap.
Yeah. This
$27.50 for the tickets, by the way. That's the other crazy price.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now that's the processing. That's the processing fees now.
Yeah. This this is wild. So like we're talking and we're digging through these things, and I'm like, I think I have some tickets. I have some tickets upstairs. So I go upstairs, and these are just the first 2 that I found. They're both from the same game, and it's September 27th, 2009, Eagles versus Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, I'll flash it up on the screen, and the player is Asante Samuel at the time, his cornerback. And what's weird about this game, this was Michael Vick's first game back in the NFL.
As an Eagle, yeah.
As an Eagle. Kevin Cobb's Yeah, Kevin Cobb started that day at quarterback, but Michael Vick played, and now I didn't remember it till I looked it up, and I'm like, oh my god, that's right. And I remember, he first came on the field and the crowd went crazy. And say what you want about Michael Vick, whatever, but the point is that the guy comes back, and for all intents and purposes, he kept it cool. He hasn't gotten into any issues, whatever. Um, so
He's
I
on
have
camera.
that. What's that?
He's on camera. He's on the plenty of the ESPN or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was I don't know if he's still doing it, but yes. But what's crazy is, it leads into what Oz has.
So I pulled mine out and then got Brian Dawkins on there, and it was actually the Eagles versus the Falcons. So this particular game was Michael Vick's last game as a Falcon before the whole dog fiasco. So I have his last game as a Falcon, and then Tony has his return as an Eagle, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
You think about
Yeah.
Michael Vick's trajectory and what he went through and had to go to jail and all that. So I had his last game, and Tony has his triumphant return.
Vic only threw 2 passes in this game, went 0 for 2, but he was used as the gimmick, coming out,
Gotcha.
lining
Yeah.
up as a receiver and stuff. But then,
The
Cobb gets
Wildcat
knocked
and-
out. The rest is history. So,
Mhm.
but fellas, it's been fun. We can talk all night. It's
I
crazy.
got a Whopper waiting for me upstairs.
There you go. But hey, Kamish, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey,
It was kind
thanks
of
for
an
having me.
impromptu appearance. I was like, as we were going through the topics, I'm like, we talked about all this stuff today, man. Let's just have the commish on and shoot the breeze here a little
I
bit. And
appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Like-
Appreciate it as always.
Good job, sir.
absolutely.
Numbers
Thank
Neil coming through.
Yes, sir. Hey, Oz, take us home, brother.
Well, bro, we had a great time. Listen, I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. We got 2 games in Houston, baby. Philly's gonna come back. They're gonna shock the world. So as like when this is released, we're gonna be celebrating Monday. Phillies gonna be world champs. Eagles going undefeated, winning Super Bowl. The Roaring 20s are back, baby, and we're gonna do this like we always do. And that's keep focused, keep positive, and keep collecting. Hey, yo, Tone, bring the beat back.